Hello, and welcome back to Alice Talks Football, and welcome back to another live Manchester United news, transfer news, and update show when I say transfer news, but I feel like every single transfer story that's probably coming out around Manchester United seems to just be a little bit of spin. What's happened is we sacked Almiron at the start of the window. We brought in Michael Carrick. We've done our Michael Carrick PR. They've won the Manchester Derby. If we'd lost the Manchester Derby, there would be more pressure on them to do a transfer. We've won the Manchester Derby in very good style. Everyone's happy with Carrick. Almiron is gone. We're going to keep putting out about Baleba and Anderson in the summer and do nothing in January, but put out this secret midfield story, but do absolutely nothing. So when I say transfer news, we're looking at Neves. We're looking at this. We're looking at that. I just feel the transfer news coming out now is spin. Apparently, Man United are having a meeting with Carrick to do something this week. Well, do something. Because we are 23 days into the January window. Do something, please. Because I have a feeling a lot of this transfer news is spin. But what isn't spin is the leaks. And I think this might be one of the most shameless things that Samuel Luckhurst has put out. Because Samuel Luckhurst was the guy that leaked the information. And obviously United got some problems with leaks again. United doing some investigation into leaks. We had a leak issue, then it resolved a bit. Then we had a few leaks a couple months ago, and that got squashed very quickly. I mean, some people say since Garnacho's left the club, we've had very little leaks. We had one leak about 3-4 months ago, and this has probably been the second leak we've had since Garnacho left. Now, I'm not saying that Garnacho was a leaker. There was obviously rumours that Garnacho and his brother were the leaker, but there is still leaks coming out of the club despite Garnacho leaving. And I want to talk about the leaks in today's video. I want to talk about this whole story, the investigation ongoing, the shameless situation. I want to talk about Neves. Michael Carrick, apparently we're still looking at bringing a midfielder. I don't know if this is PR spin. I don't know if this is Ineos spin. I think the only positive it would be if we lost to Arsenal is maybe it put pressure on the board to sign someone in January. I think if we go and beat Arsenal nicely, they'll be like, yeah, you know what, Carrick doesn't need anyone, which is completely not true because Arsenal and City are very different games to Fulham. Fulham will be a low block. My only concern is I want us to beat Arsenal. I want us to batter Arsenal. But my only concern is if we do beat Arsenal, they'll probably use that as an excuse to do nothing for Carrick. But there is obviously talk about midfield and Man United bringing midfield for Carrick. We're going to get into that news. I don't know if it's spin. Yan Diamonde we inquired about, but Leipzig want 80 million. So fair enough if United don't want to do that. And then obviously you've got news from Carrick's press conference. Carrick giving an update on De Ligt. Everyone's like, where the hell is De Ligt? And more. So yeah, let's dive into the news. Let's dive into the stories. Let's start with the leaks. And look, I've got a bit of a headache today, so I don't know how long I'm going to be live for. But I want to get involved. I want to get the live chat involved today. I'm intrigued to know your thoughts. The January signing is going to be a Cobby contract renewal, and they're going to put that as pretty much a new signing. Oh, Cobby signed the new deal. Cobby signed the new deal. Great, but Cobby should have signed a new deal months ago, but he didn't because he wasn't really playing, which was fair. They'll probably use Cobby new deal, Carrick coming in, and a win against Man City as an excuse not to do anything in January. How do you know it's the players leaking? Bet it's one of the staff at the club. It's weird how we still get leaks when those they felt were leaking are gone. Exactly. I agree. I actually don't. I've always said this when we've had leaks because everyone thought it was Garnacho and his brother. I don't necessarily think it's the players leaking. I think it's the players telling someone who then might leak the information, or it's someone on the coaching staff. The only thing is we've had such a big overturn in coaching staff lately that, I mean, does the kitman know the team? Maybe it's someone inside the club. I don't think the players themselves are going out and leaking the team. I don't think there's a player that's going out there to Samuel Luckhurst and saying, look, here is the side. It could be something like Garnacho tells his brother he's playing. Garnacho's brother wants to, I don't know, goes to this person. I don't know. I don't think the players themselves go out of their way to go to journalists. I do think leaks probably come from maybe a kitman or someone involved in the club, or maybe a coach. And I think a lot of the leaks just come from someone telling a family member, and that family member going, oh, well, I could maybe make a bit of money if I tell so-and-so, la 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 la. Like, I don't know. Obviously, I'm not going to believe that Garnacho was the leak, but, I mean, there has been a lot less leaks since he's gone. But it could just be a coincidence because United have done a lot of the internal investigations into leaks. Manchester United apparently discovered who the leaker was. Now, that never came out, but Man United apparently did an investigation and pretty much narrowed down who the leakers would be and apparently dealt with it. And we haven't had many leaks since the alleged leakers were dealt with, but there has been leaks again soon. Is that a new leaker? Is the alleged leaker reoffending? I don't know. But obviously, if you didn't know the leak, so we played at 12:30, yeah? This was like 8 a.m. in the morning. And this was like 8 a.m. in the morning. complete lineup leaked at 8 a.m. in the morning. But this was leaked to Luckhurst at 8 a.m. in the morning. Someone gave this to him. He said, look, they could have given this to me as a lie to try and disrupt the City. But this was the starting 11 in Manchester derby. Now, what's shameless about it is what Samuel Luckhurst has put out today. What Samuel Luckhurst put out today is so shameless, guys. Are you ready? Are you ready? So this isn't exactly what he said, but this is a roundup of Samuel Luckhurst's article, where he goes, Manchester United have launched an internal investigation after the starting 11 was leaked hours before last week's derby. The correct lineup was published, which angered figures inside the club. Leaked team news was once common, but now viewed as a serious issue. Sensitivity has increased due to social media toxicity and tribalism. The club's reaction reflects a harder stance on internal leaks. They're fuming. Basically, this is Samuel Luckhurst saying, they're fuming I leaked the team. Luckhurst leaked the team. And he's now saying the club are fuming that the team was leaked. And they're investigating the leak. Now, the leak, I think, was Luckhurst. Luckhurst wasn't the leak. Someone had given Luckhurst information. He was dumb enough to publish it. I've been leaked. Someone has leaked the team to me before. And, it's not anyone at United specifically. This was... but I got information from someone once where they leaked the starting 11 to me the night before. Did I ever leak that information? No. I might put out an hour or two before the lineup's released. Oh, Aidan Heaven's going to start today. But I would never leak the full lineup. Someone like us as a Man United journalist, before a big Manchester derby, should not be leaking the starting 11. The club have obviously gone to Samuel Luckhurst because he's got contacts at the club, and they're probably peed off. They're probably thinking they're doing their investigation. The club has definitely gone to Samuel Luckhurst and gone, how on earth did you get that lineup? The club has definitely gone to Luckhurst and gone, how on earth did you get that lineup? Why on earth did you put that lineup out? How did you get it? Where Samuel Luckhurst has gone, well, what's going to get me some clicks? By the way, Man United are investigating the leaks. I bet they've gone to Luckhurst fuming, wanting to find out how he got the team. And obviously that Luckhurst is now saying they're angry and they're annoyed the lineup was released and now they're doing an investigation. I think it's quite funny that Luckhurst is the one reporting this. It's just like, you leaked the team, mate. Like, you know who's leaking information to you. So the club went to you to try and find out who's leaking information to you, and you're basically then put out a report. Man United are really angry by the leaks. They're trying to figure out who it is. I mean, look, whoever's leaking at Man United needs to stop. It does not help us. It does not help us one bit if you're leaking information. So, look, the person that's leaking information at Man United is probably not watching me right now. We're going to be real. But if you are, stop it. Stop it. Stop it. Stop it. But I have to say, it did make me laugh, Samuel Luckhurst. Like, it's just he's so shameless, isn't he? So shameless. Man United have launched an internal investigation to discover who's leaked their starting 11 when Samuel Luckhurst was the one that leaked the starting 11. And obviously he means who leaked it to him. But, oh, man. It's just, you know when you got to try not to laugh. Luckhurst leaks the lineup, then leaks news that there's an investigation into how he leaked the lineup. Oh, this man. It's shameless. It's shameless. But on a real, we've got to talk about it. Thank you for the super chat. Alice City fan here. How does it feel to see players like Semenyo reject you guys for us? How times have changed. It sucked. It sucked. And you know what the worst part is? Is I understood why he rejected us for you. That's the worst part. Understanding why Elliot Anderson is going to go to City over United and why Semenyo is going to go to City over United. That's the worst part. Not only have they said no, but I understand it. I understand it because I'm like, well, look where they are, look where we've been. What I will say is, you're probably not going to get found guilty of any of those charges. But if you do get found guilty of those 115 charges and are sitting in the Championship in a few years' time, I will be loving it. Look, Man City's owners have got very good connections to Trump, very good connections to powerful people, and we know money talks. We all know that Man City are going to get a slap on the wrist. But if they actually, by some miracle, get punished for those 115 charges, well, there's a lot of evidence, but money talks. They've got good connections. They've got government connections. We all know it's a bit corrupt. If they do get found guilty and get sent to the Championship, I will be laughing. But yes, I am jealous. I'm jealous that you got Gay. I'm jealous that you got Semenyo. I'm jealous that you got Cherky. I know Elliot Anderson is going to reject us to join Manchester City in the summer, and I am going to be fuming. So yes, it does suck. It does suck. And I pray for the day where City fall off and Man United are good. And I'm not going to hide that because they've finished above us for over 10 years now. It's embarrassing. It's embarrassing. And that is why I have been so shameless this week. I have been so shameless this week because when is the next time we're going to win a big game with City, Liverpool and Arsenal dropping points? City, Liverpool and Arsenal dropped points at the weekend. We won. We beat City. We smashed them. You've got to enjoy it. You've got to be shameless because we might most likely lose to Arsenal next week. But yes. Bodo did destroy City. I didn't watch the game. I didn't, because it was a 5-0 kickoff, I didn't even realise. And then I tune in and I'm like, wait, City are losing. Lol. They were 3-1 down. I want Arsenal to win out of spite. Nobody beats us and gets away with it. You can't be a City fan because realistically, if Arsenal lose and you win, you're 4 points behind them. Surely you'd want Man United to win because 4 points is very catchable. If we win and you win, you're 4 points behind them. 16 games, win all of them. Could Man United win the league if Carrick won all 16 games? Well, first of all, Carrick's not going to win all 16 games. But second of all, we could, but we need Arsenal to drop a lot of points, to be honest. And I think if we were catching up on them that much, they would probably not. Envious, not jealous. Yeah, that's probably a good way to describe. Carrick works miracles. The rats get the caviar and champagne. Sounds great. I mean, the thing is, if Carrick does work miracles and wins loads of games and we get Champions League football and in some kind of title-winning form, the Glazers will love that. Oh, Champions League football, look at our Champions League. But we need Champions League football. If we don't get Champions League football, our financial position is going to be even worse. And the financials are going down, 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 down. We need Champions League football to give us the money to do what we need to do in the summer. The problem is when we're in the Champions League football, I think we're going to struggle like Newcastle have, like Tottenham have, because I don't think we've got the depth to deal with Champions League football, but we need it for the financials to kick on with the rebuild. Also to increase our pool. Our only chances of getting Elliot Anderson over City is if we get Champions League football. Like, let's be real. Bruno staying could depend on Champions League football. We need Bruno to stay. We need Elliot Anderson in. That's what we need. Anyway. Alice, do you think Ineos will leave? Well, I think there's if someone puts in a big bid for Man United and the Glazers go, you know what, we're upset that, then Ineos have a chance to match that bid, and if they can't, they can be kicked out, essentially. But let's talk about transfer news. Let's talk about other updates as we've just discussed the leaks. Manchester United inquired about Ruben Neves, but his wage demands are too high. Also, Al Hilal do not want to sell and are trying to make him sign a new deal. I don't know what Neves' wages are. To be fair, if Neves wants 200k plus a week, it's difficult. Ruben Neves is the kind of guy you want on 150k a week, max. He's probably wanting 250k a week. I understand why United don't want to do that, especially with us not being in the Champions League. Look, Ruben Neves is available for 15 million. Ruben Neves apparently wants to come. If Ruben Neves wants to come, he may lower his wages. If Ruben Neves accepts a decent wage, I'm all over this. If Ruben Neves wants to come on a decent wage, to be honest. But if he's asking for like 300 grand a week, I do understand United saying no. Like Mark Gay was asking for 300 grand a week. City did it. We can't have players on 300 grand a week when we're not in the Champions League. We can't, and it makes them so hard to sell, and it puts us in a weak position. But do you know what's really wound me up today? James Garner signed a new contract. Man United had an opportunity to get in there and see if they could do something for James Garner before he signed the new deal at Everton. Nothing. And James Garner has signed a new contract at Everton, which means James Garner, who would have been 15-20 million, is now going to cost a lot more money. So that is the frustrating situation with James Garner signing a new deal. United have missed out on an opportunity to bring in James Garner. We can get it off. The Glazers worry about the team and not their pockets. And do you know what the worst part is? If the Glazers cared about Man United being successful, they would have made more money. Man United not being successful is slowly declining how much we make, and our fan base in the younger generations is actually getting smaller than other clubs because we're not successful. If Man United invested loads of money on the pitch and made success on the pitch our number one priority, long term, the Glazers are going to benefit from it. You know they're bad at business, and you know they're not clever when they're only thinking short term. All the Glazers are thinking is what's going to make us the most money this year, next year, this year, next year, this year, next year. The Glazers aren't thinking what's going to make us the most money in the next 10 years. Because if the Glazers were really thinking what's going to make us the most money in the next 10 years, they would have spent a bit more in previous years. They would have hired better people in previous years to do that job instead of hiring puppets. And we would have been more successful and we'd be making a lot more money now. If Man United won the league 3 times in the last 8 years, I guarantee you we'd probably have made 300 million more revenue this year. Let's say we were in the Champions League every year since Fergie, and we had 3 Premier League titles in 12 years, which, is somewhat decent. I guarantee the financial position of this club would be so much stronger. I genuinely believe the Glazers are stupid, because for the Glazers to make more money, for Man United to make more money, Manchester United need to be good on the pitch. But you're not focusing on improving us on the pitch. We need Champions League football, and we need to win trophies to make more money. You're not doing anything in January that's going to help us get Champions League football. You're not doing anything in January that's going to help us make more money. Yet that will make more money. It makes no sense. It's like, the more successful we are, the more money you get in your pockets. So why aren't you investing in our success? The ownership, it drives me mental, because not only are they crap owners, but they're stupid. They're absolutely stupid. Anderson and Morgan Rogers in the summer. I wouldn't take Morgan Rogers unless Bruno leaves. I don't think he's 100% what we need, but I love Anderson. Let's talk about midfield plans then. So Ben Jacobs was on the Football Terrace today with Terry, who obviously owns the Football Terrace. And obviously Ben Jacobs was on there last week talking about the secret midfielder, la la la. What has Ben Jacobs discussed with Terry on the Football Terrace? Man United are awaiting Michael Carrick's decision on whether he needs a short-term midfield reinforcement. If he agrees, the club will actively pursue a deal in the remaining days of the transfer window. If Casemiro got an injury tomorrow, we are finished. We are finished. Because we are 10 times better when Casemiro's on the pitch. Bruno, Casemiro, they cannot get injured. We've got Casemiro, Bruno, Maino, and Agate. 4 midfielders to cover 3 positions. Agate is the bench option. We basically need to hope that Casemiro, Bruno, and Kobe can play every game from now to the end of the season. And there's a strong chance they could, because we're only playing 1 game a week. But if one of them gets injured, we're going to regret not bringing in a midfielder. Because for me, Agate is better next to Casemiro than playing instead of Casemiro. I would look at a João Gomez, and I would have looked at James Garner, who's just signed a new deal, as someone that can fill in for Casemiro, and we can rest and rotate with Casemiro. I get we've only got 1 game a week, so the club might be like, well, they might not play a lot. But if something happens to Casemiro, Kobe, Bruno, there is trouble. Now, Mount could come in for Bruno, Agate can come in for Kobe and Cass, but it's a drop-off. I think Agate's done all right lately next to Casemiro, but I don't want Agate coming in instead of Casemiro. Casemiro's intelligence is crazy. His reading of the game is crazy. Ineos won't give a crap what Carrick wants. No, Ineos don't really give a crap. I think Ineos are just putting this out to distract fans. Oh, they're having conversations with Carrick about signing a midfielder. Oh, it looks like we're going to sign a midfielder. We've just got to be patient. Having conversations with Carrick about signing a midfielder. I almost think when I look at this, I've got a saying. Yeah, sorry, I almost think this is media spin. I almost think this is just a bit of media spin now. Like, I'm like, you keep putting out, we're talking to Carrick about a midfielder. Oh, we're looking at midfielder. But who are we actually talking to? Who are we actually looking at? And what are we actually doing? Because you keep putting out this and that. And this isn't Ben Jacobs' fault. He's a good journalist. He's going to be briefed by someone. Man United keep putting out these briefs, but they're not actively doing anything. So is this just PR? Is this just a complete PR spin? Distract the fans. The fans want a signing. Distract them. Let's just keep putting out. We're going to have a conversation with Carrick and see if Carrick wants anyone. And then they'll say Carrick didn't want anyone. I reckon Carrick wants someone, but they'll probably come out and go, oh, Carrick didn't want anyone, so we didn't need to do anything. No. You had an opportunity to get James Garner. You fumbled it. There's Marc Casado with Barcelona. I don't know if he'd be good enough long term, but there's player with potential there. There's João Gomez available for £35 million, who statistically and data-wise makes a lot of sense when you actually look at João Gomez's numbers. João Gomez makes a lot of sense data-wise as well. So I just think if we were Manchester City, I think we would have signed João Gomez. I don't think we'd have got Elliot Anderson, Blaber or Wharton. But I think if Man City were in our position, they would have gone and signed João Gomez and they would have been pushing for a winger, to be honest. Now, I'm not saying João Gomez is necessarily who we need to sign, but I think that we're going to need João Gomez, Wharton and Anderson in the summer to replace Casemiro and Agate. If you can get one of them now, why don't you? Because I think João Gomez has the ability to play deeper and defensively is decent. Let me show you his numbers. Bear with me, people. Bear with me. Is this the site? Yeah. Look at, he's pretty good, João Gomez. Now, this isn't always the best way to compare players that play in very different teams and very different styles. But defensively, he's very good, João Gomez. You know, I think Casemiro brings a bit more on the ball, as you can see here with his passing, but he also plays in a more possession-dominant side. But João Gomez is there with Casemiro when it comes to winning possession. And that's what we need in the six. But also, he can carry the ball. He does well in duels. He can pass forward. I mean, I think we should do more. Big up to Gaz. Big up to everyone in the chat. Apparently, Xerxes staying, but apparently Man United haven't made a 100% decision yet. If Man United get a good offer for Xerxes between now and the end of the window, apparently United are open to saying yes to that. They wanted to wait until Mbeumo and Thingy was back. They wanted to wait until they had the interim confirmed. I think Xerxes could go, but I think United are only willing to let him go if a nice offer comes in. 100%. João Gomez is what a guy was meant to be. A guy hasn't got the press resistance and the ability on the ball in tight areas and build up and receiving off the centre backs to do what we wanted him to do. That's why a guy is always better when he plays next to Casemiro, because he can go further up. And a guy's good games have come when he's gone next to Casemiro, he's played further up. And a guy isn't an awful player. Sometimes I watch a guy and he's awful. Don't get me wrong. But other times I watch him and I'm like, I think this is a player that's misunderstood, misused, and because he has limitations on the ball, doesn't work in this way. I think there's ways to get Agate playing a lot better than he's playing, and I think that is putting him next to a 6 where he becomes more of an 8. I think a guy is an 8, to be honest. Someone said Emi Martinez replacing Le Mans. I'm happy with Le Mans. I think, there's 1 or 2 goals Le Mans could have done better for, but look, Le Mans has played, I don't know, 15 games for us, yeah? And we're talking about 2 or 3 goals Le Mans could have done better for. Anana, after 15 games, we were talking about 15 goals he could have done better for. So, I'm happy with Le Mans. I think Le Mans has had some good games lately. Le Mans is the reason we didn't lose to Wolves. Le Mans is the reason we didn't lose to Wolves. So, I've seen a bit of criticism of Le Mans, but you've got to remember, this is a 23-year-old keeper. He's incredibly young for a goalkeeper. He's going to get better and better. He wasn't that expensive. He's not on high wages. He really is coming in because Anana's crap and Bayandi is crap, but he's better than them. Le Mans could have done better for some goals, but in 15 games, Le Mans could have done better for 3, maybe 4 goals. Anana could have done better for 15, maybe 20 goals in 15 games at Man United. For me, I like Le Mans. I think, he's still got a way to go. He's still got improvements he can make in his game, but I don't get Le Mans' dislike. I mean, look, Le Mans is one of those players where he'll be here next season, and this time next year we'll have conversations if we can improve him. This summer is getting those 2 top midfielders in, getting the top left winger in, maybe sorting out left back depth, maybe a third midfielder for depth, maybe a centre back for depth. Next summer, we look at, has Le Mans been good enough, or could he be upgraded? Le Mans might be our Ramsdale. Arsenal had Leno, he had some limitations, they brought in Ramsdale, they look better with Ramsdale. After 2 good years at Ramsdale where he'd been all right, Arsenal went, well, we can do better with Raya, and went and got Raya. That might be Le Mans, or in 2 years' time, it might be like, Le Mans is sick. Let's keep him, he's good. But we needed Le Mans because he's an upgrade on what we had. We've got Vitek to come in, so you never know. Vitek could be the keeper. We could go and sign a keeper, but I think the goalkeeper is the last position I'm looking at in the summer with Le Mans and Vitek. It really is. Le Mans small for a top keeper. Is he small? I don't look at Le Mans and think he's small. Le Mans height. 1.93 m. What's that in feet? 6'4". I wouldn't say Le Mans is small. Maybe he doesn't look as physically imposing as other goalkeepers his age, but yeah. Anana apparently is interested in coming back. He thinks if the next manager that comes in is a ball playing manager, he could get his place back. I did read that story. Anana's deluded. Those clowns who run the club have no intention of buying players. In January, it's all Glinios spin. They have no ambition of making United great again. And look, I feel that way. Until they show me some real ambition, until they show me they want to make United great again, you're probably correct. Would you let Rashford come back? To be honest, I'm not totally against it. If Barcelona aren't going to pay up for Rashford and we've got a new manager in and we need a left winger and the left wing market's ridiculous right now, I'm open for Rashford coming back. The reason I don't want Rashford to come back is I think Rashford doesn't want to come back. Rashford's head is in Barcelona. I don't think it would be a good idea to bring Rashford back into Man United where his head isn't ready for the environment. But if Barcelona are literally refusing to pay 26 million for Marcus Rashford, then we should stick our fingers up at Barcelona. The fact that Barcelona are trying to get Marcus Rashford for cheaper than 26 million is a joke, is an absolute joke. So, in my opinion, if Barcelona don't want to pay 26 million for Rashford and we need a left winger, I take Rashford back. I don't think that would be a good idea because I don't think Rashford wants to be here, if I'm going to be honest as well. People just picking out things to criticise. Yeah, I feel like any Man United player, someone's always got something to criticise. Lissandro Martinez does this, but he's a good player. Lissandro Martinez had a few rusty games because he just come back from a nasty ACL injury. He has a couple of limitations, but he's a good player. I've seen people hate on Leacher. I've seen people hate on Le Mans. Like, Le Mans isn't a problem right now. Lissandro Martinez isn't a problem right now. Like, the thing is, Lissandro Martinez and Le Mans, I like them both. I think Lissandro Martinez was fantastic in the derby. In 2 years' time, we might say, let's say in 2 years' time we come second, but we're not quite good enough to beat whoever's in first. We might go, oh, maybe we could do a bit better on Leacher here. Maybe we could do a bit better on Le Mans here. But right now, I'm happy with Leacher. I'm happy with Le Mans. The only player that's really frustrating me in the starting 11 at the moment is Dalot. But we've got Mazraoui to come in, so I'm calm. We just need a midfielder for depth. I'm happy with a lot of our players. I actually think we've got decent players. I actually think we've got a decent squad, but I feel like fans always want something to criticise. Oh, Le Mans hasn't done this. Cunha's getting a lot of hate lately. Cunha's been hit and miss, but Cunha's been good for the most part. I don't get the Cunha hate. Le Mans getting stick I don't get. De Ligt got a load of stick last season. Loads of people called De Ligt rubbish last season and wrote them off. So, I think in this fan base, there's always people that want to criticise every player and are just picking things to criticise. But I don't think there's really much negative to say about Le Mans. It was a bit like De Ligt last season when people were saying bad things about De Ligt last season. I didn't personally get it. Barca are probably the right team for Rashford. They can win La Liga and UCL there. Yeah, and Rashford's been quite good the last couple of games for Barca after a little dip in form. Yeah. We signed anyone yet, or are we still interested? We're interested FC. We're monitoring FC, watching FC, considering FC, interested FC, but we're not signing anyone FC. We are interested. Man United are monitoring. Man United are considering. Manchester United are interested. Manchester United are watching. Manchester United are targeting. Manchester United are following. And do you know what annoys me? Is I reckon these stories that we get, like, we've been told 100 times by so many journalists over like a 3-month period that we want Elliot Anderson. I feel like journalists just get that story, put it in ChatGPT, just say change up a few words, and then put that story out again every week. Just to get clicks, just to use United to get clicks. It is boring. It is boring, some of the news stories that come out of United. But watching this player, we're doing this, that. It's like, well, I want us to sign someone. I'm bored of watching FC, monitoring FC, viewing FC. Actually sign someone. Actually do some business. Because I think if, we're acting like, oh, who can we sign? There's no midfielders. João Gomez. Mark Casado, we could have maybe gone for James Garner. I just think if they'd have really put a bit of effort into it, like Manchester City done in January windows, we probably could have done a lot more. Elliot Anderson wants City over us. He does. He's made that quite clear. Do you think we beat Arsenal? I'm going to be honest. Arsenal haven't lost a game at home this season. I really don't think we beat Arsenal. I think a lot of it is PR and spin. When you read these stories like, oh, Man United are looking for a midfielder. Oh, Man United want Ruben Neves. Oh, Man United want this. Man United want that. I think a lot of it is spin. Talking of Diamonde. RB Leipzig demand 87 million for Yan Diamonde, and that is putting off clubs making a bid. If anyone is stupid enough to pay 87 million for Yan Diamonde, wow. Look, Yan Diamonde could be worth the 87 million in 4 years' time. But we spent 85 million on Anthony. We spent 72 million on Jadon Sancho. Fully get it. If you could get Yan Diamonde for 40 million pounds, I go Man United. This is something to watch. Yan Diamonde is raw. He's raw. He's in that kind of Garnacho category where he has really good games and he has games where you're like, he's raw, he's exciting, he could be very good, but he's not someone I'd spend more than 50 million quid on. And even 50 million, I think, is a push. But there's a limitation of exciting left wingers out there. I watched him at AFCON. He was very good. But look, Yan Diamonde is someone we're looking at for the left wing. But again, we're not going to move for him. I think we're going to move for a left winger in the summer. I think we're going to move for a few midfielders in the summer. And I think we're going to do absolutely nothing in January, but just keep putting up stories about us looking at this player and secret midfielder, this and this, just to like spin. What are people saying? I think Arsenal beats 3-1. I think we're probably going to lose to Arsenal, but hopefully we win. If we're at Old Trafford, I fancy us to get a result versus Arsenal. But because we're not at Old Trafford, I think Arsenal probably win at the Emirates. We haven't beat them in the league at the Emirates since 2017. Every show is the same show. It's just Ineos. putting out the same news. We looked at Diamonde, but he was too expensive. We're going to have a conversation with Carrick about what to do. We looked at Ruben Neves. It's just a lot of the same news. Oh, Carlos Baleba and Anderson's who we want in the summer. They're recycling news. They're recycling news because they're trying to distract us from the fact they're doing nothing in January. Now let's get into the final bits of information which come from Michael Carrick's press conference. Michael Carrick did a conference summary versus Arsenal. He says Dalot handled last games well despite yellow card. I admit that. Dalot got a yellow card. Dalot had a horrible 10 minutes. Dalot then misplaced a simple pass to Ahmad on the counter that made me want to turn off my TV. But after that, on a yellow card, Dalot did have a very good game defensively and managed Doku well. Credit where credit's due. Sesko didn't get any minutes after scoring 3 goals in 2 games. He must be feeling gutted, but Carrick said he will play and he's doing well in training. Maino represents the club's future. Maino was expected to sign a new deal. Now Carrick is here. And Casemiro's departure was decided before Carrick arrived. Casemiro had decided that a while ago. I think Casemiro wants to leave on a high. I think Casemiro doesn't want to be here next season if his game drops or slows down even more. He wants to leave on a high. And, a high would be getting Champions League football. If Casemiro leaves and gets us Champions League football as he leaves the club, fantastic. And De Ligt has had a minor delay in his recovery, but no major setback, and is expected to return soon. De Ligt's injury was meant to be a little knock, and he's been out for about 3 months. And he was our best player at the start of the season, which was annoying as well. But anyway, people, that is a roundup of all your latest Manchester United news. I will be back tonight with a Man United Arsenal preview. Thank you for watching. See you next time. Bye.